Yeah, my beats, they are hard.
All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to another live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Bryan Fulford and A.D. Drew. Good to be on with you another Sunday. The SportsWrap with you here live and direct. How's everybody doing? Yep, indeed. Watching that BTA. Mama, there goes that man, JT28. MVP. My boy. Well, I'm telling you. How about, speaking of the Colts, Drew? First off, how are you doing this evening?
What city am I in right now? I think I'm back in Atlanta right now. So, yeah.
Well,
Bryan, the reason I say that is because I woke up this morning, and for those who travel, I walked out to the my vehicle at the hotel this morning. And if you notice, Bryan, when you get to these hotel districts, areas, a lot of them look the same. Especially when you get out of different downtown areas. I mean, think about it, Bryan. There's always 2-3 hotels around where you're at. There's usually a gas station right there, somebody's gas station. There's a couple of fast food places, maybe a sit-down restaurant, and probably a strip mall. And if you're right by the interstate, you just look around and like, damn, these all look the same. Every doggone hotel I stay in, it looks like like they just took this blueprint and moved it to a different city. That's why I said, what city am I in this morning? I really had to ask myself that because I was that tired when I walked out to the car.
I understand how you could get there after spending. I didn't even count the total amount of hours on a bus this weekend. And as you look out the window and I pass by different cities, I understand. I was looking, I was like, that looks like, that looks like a city I'm familiar with. That looks like a city I'm familiar with. And so, I mean, taking a bus from Central Florida all the way to Louisiana, man, I tell you, what a life. What a life. But, a once in a lifetime experience. I don't know if I'll repeat it, Drew, but I'm glad we don't have a lot of road games. That's all I'm gonna say.
Welcome to college athletics. That is one thing about college athletics. That's actually the one thing that I do not miss about actually coaching on the collegiate level. I love the fact that we're on charter buses, but I hate the fact that we're on charter buses at most of our HBCU levels because the travel can be brutal. The times that you have to leave to get to certain games, the times that you come back to campus, and then depending on how far you stay from said campus, you may have an hour drive home or something like that. I know one institution that I was working at prior to coming to Morehouse, before I was able to actually move to that area, it was an hour and 15 minutes back to my house when when I initially took that job. It was commuting. And Bryan, there were a couple of days when we got in from a road trip that I was happy that I kept the couch in my office when I moved into the office that I was in. Because I just went and laid down on that couch and got some Z's before I drove home.
I can understand that. I can understand that, man. Shout out to the bus drivers, the logistical people who organize moving,
Transportation supervisors and
whoever it is that does all the logistical stuff that goes into moving a team, plus the staff that comes with the team, whether it be the equipment staff, the medical staff, the training staff. I mean, hell, the finding room for two radio broadcasters. I mean, man, and then security. Shout out to the whole. I mean, this just the whole operation, man. I have a tremendous respect for everybody, and I'm speaking specifically with Florida A&M. But I imagine it's like that for just about every HBCU or any college. And when it's not in order, I bet you know it. When it's not in order,
you don't appreciate them until something goes left.
Yes.
Especially when you and here and why you bring that up, when that person has to coordinate with people in other cities, like say for classics or something like that, where you control so much of your travel, or when you fly and then you get off the plane and then you're relying on ground transportation that you are unfamiliar with. Yeah, it takes a lot of coordination. But Bryan, I covered 3 sports, 3 cities in 2 days this weekend. 2 sports
Jeez.
Friday, 1 sport on Saturday. And while I'm at it, the sport that I started at, Bryan, congratulations to the Morehouse cross country team. We don't normally talk about cross country on this show, Bryan, but Morehouse under current head coach Willie Hill, Bryan, just captured their not 1, not 2, not 3, Bryan, but their 4th consecutive SIAC conference title in cross country, Bryan. So there is a senior class that knows nothing but victory in that particular sport. Now, Bryan, I'm going to take it one step further, and that's a great feat, right?
Sure. Yes, no doubt.
Coach Willie Hill, legendary Coach Willie Hill, who should be in the SIAC Hall of Fame, and who, and I promise everyone on this, within the sound of the voice of this podcast, that when the next SIAC Hall of Fame nominations open up for the next class, I will be nominating him. Bryan,
Okay.
just on the cross country sport, he has captured 28 SIAC crown
Wow.
as a head coach. Not I was tagging along as an assistant coach, Bryan, and have been there for 28. He has captured 28 SIAC crowns since the 80s, Bryan. I want to say he took over in 1981, but don't quote me on that.
That's a heck of a feat. Heck of a feat. So the SIAC had theirs. I know the SWAC is having their cross countries Monday.
Yes.
The SWAC women and men are having theirs on Monday in Tallahassee, Florida. I don't know MEAC or I don't know CIAA.
Yeah. I've actually been to that course in Tallahassee where they're going to be running the cross country championships. It's a course. FSU, Florida State runs their meets out there, but they hold a lot of meets. It's a championship course, Bryan. There have been NCAA meets, high level NCAA meets held on that course, which tells you the caliber of the course that the SWAC is running their championships on. And Bryan, I don't know if you really know this, but I've been to that course, and that was the first time I've ever seen a cross country event streamed or on the video board at the event.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You can actually sit there as a fan while somebody is running around, and you could actually watch it from a different perspective. Almost kind of like golf. They've got the camera set up in certain points, and you can see the runners coming in. And it's a great thing when you see them, knowing they're getting ready to come actually into your sight line, and watching them come off the screen and come into your sight line along the front stretch there, Brian. So good luck to the Florida A&M Rattlers. For those who are in Tallahassee, hey, you got to go down 27 for about 10 minutes, but you will get there sooner or later.
Yeah. I'll get into a little bit of my personal pain, and I'm not talking about the pain in my knees or my rear. More so, I am no longer a survivor, Drew, and I blame myself. I'm partially to blame, but I also blame the Cincinnati Bengals. So I will share more a little bit about my pain later. But it almost fits appropriate to the title of our show. Don't call it an upset. But damn it feels like an upset. It feels like an upset, but I should have known better. I should have known better.
One last thing. I left there Saturday, excuse me, that was Friday morning, left there, had to come back to Atlanta Friday afternoon because we had an evening matchup against Georgia State in an exhibition. I played Georgia State tough, lost 73-62. Not bad considering that's a Division I opponent, and we were missing 3 players who expect to be in the rotation, Brian, in that matchup against Georgia State on Friday night. So, I'm very confident about our basketball team. Emmett says he caught my interview on the Larry Dixon show. We replayed that right here on the Black College Sports Network, but you can also catch it live on the Maroon Tiger Sports Network. I think we're going to be doing our next show on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday. Time has not been set yet. I take that back. I think we're going to go live at 3:00, and obviously the replay will come here on the Black College Sports Network. And then, Brian, got up Saturday morning, woke up about 5:30, out the door at 6:45 to drive from Atlanta down to Savannah, Georgia, where unfortunately we took an L with Morehouse. So by the time and it was Savannah State's homecoming, had a couple of people invite me to post game homecoming festivities out there in the tailgate. Shout out to DP and those people out there who let me join them for the tailgate and some food and an adult beverage, because I sure needed it at that point. But Brian, brother was tired, so just shut it down in Savannah and made it home today.
All right. Sorry to hear about the first loss in 3 weeks for Morehouse after running a 3-game win streak.
First one, let's just say it like this: first in October.
Okay, even better. All right. Yeah, 24-16 final score, Savannah State over Morehouse. I don't know if you'll call that an upset. Some people might, but I know there were plenty of upsets in college HBCU football yesterday. Poll question already in the My JBN online YouTube feed for those of you who are already there. 2 big upsets, as I would say most poll and even ranking consensus 1 and 2 teams go down at different points in the day. One goes down early in the afternoon, one goes down in the evening.
Brian, take that one step further. Your number 1 on the Division II level also went down. The consensus number 1 in the Division II level went down.
Okay. You're right. You're right about that, but I don't think that was on the level, because it was to the level of you had 2 top 5 teams battling it out, and in some cases 2 top 3 teams, or maybe even 2 top 1 versus 2. So
depending on which poll.
Yeah, depending upon which poll, and we're referring to Albany State defeating Benedict by a score of 31-3. Of course, earlier in the day on Saturday, you had Delaware State on the road at North Carolina Central's homecoming, getting a win I think it was 35-24. And then in the evening in Las Vegas, Grambling State gets another win, second year in a row that they have defeated Jackson State with a 26-24 game. So the poll question is, what was the bigger upset? And I didn't include the Benedict-Albany State game because I think to have a real upset, I think you can't be within the top three. You can't be a top five. I don't think top fives are worthy of quote-unquote upsets. But I think what makes it interesting in this particular case is in the FCS level, two of most everybody's top three teams, go down. Jackson State, North Carolina Central, Central's at home on homecoming, and just all of the preseason prognostication and predictions, I think those qualify as upsets.
Bryan, and this was part of the debate this morning on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Oh, I heard it.
1, 2, 1, 3, top 5. Is it really upset when the lower ranked team? I know by definition, Dr. Cavill, it's an upset. We went through all that this morning, Dr. Cavill. Don't need another lesson, okay? I do not need it. I do not need any more office hours for you to explain that portion to me, Dr. Cavill. But when you're talking two top 5 teams, like you say, is it really an upset? Is it? To me, and I hate to bring this up, Bryan, what Valley did to FAMU last year was an upset. You had a ranked Florida A&M team at that time and an unranked Mississippi Valley State. That's an upset. That's definitely an upset. But for me, it's got to be the book of AD, which will be coming out soon. I will be writing a book about things you do.
Okay.
You remember earlier, I'm supposed to do a Ken Rashad, certain things that you need to know. Ken Rashad got his HBCU 101. Give me a title, book. Give me a title, y'all, for my book. Stuff that you gotta know by AD. HBCU for dummies. I mean, I don't know what we want to call it. No,
hey,
I'm not
HBCU football AD. There you go.
No. I'm not the AD. But I am AD. That's the name of the book. I'm not the AD, but I am AD. Anyway, just like, when I had the 10 rules the things that you have to know about HBCUs, proper pronunciations and, not saying SIAC and all that stuff, which would be a chapter in there. But, just things about this that that's not an upset to me, Bryan.
Okay.
Jackson, Grambling beating Jackson State may be an upset. Delaware State beating North Carolina Central, giving what Delaware State has done this year, is not an upset at this point in time. If this happens in September, it is an upset. Delaware State, currently 5-3, should really have 2 more wins. Delaware State should be sitting on 7 wins right now, everybody. They should have beaten Sacred Heart, and they should have beaten Monmouth. So,
true.
Yes.
True. This is why I look at an upset in terms of how Vegas defines upsets. Now,
what's the odds number?
Oh, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you for both games. And this is why these are upsets.
Talk to me.
When you have an upset, I think you are legitimately talking about a game that is anywhere more than a touchdown. 1%. Sometimes you could say 3 points, but I would say if it's more than 1 touchdown, 6 points, 6.5 points, that's an upset. If the team that is an underdog by more than a touchdown wins, that is an upset. When you are on a money line, meaning if you were to put up $100 and you are the plus more than 150. That's an upset. Delaware State against North Carolina Central on the road, Drew. And I only know this because I just happened to look at it right before kickoff. Delaware State was a plus 15.5 point underdog on the spread at North Carolina Central. And the money line, Drew, was plus 495. That means, for the layman, for those of you who may not understand these terms, if you were to put down $10, you're winning $49.50. If you put down $100, you're winning $495. If you do like your boy and you put down a cup of coffee, you got coffee paid for the week. I'm just saying that's what happens. But 15.5, I knew in my heart of hearts, there's no way Delaware State is going to get beat by more than maybe a touchdown, maybe 10. But 15.5? No. I knew Delaware State was covering 15.5. And I just said, you know what? This might be one of those days that they are good enough that they might just take the $4.95. Give me a little pizza money, a little coffee. See, there's a difference between pizza money and coffee. Like a cup of coffee, $5-6. Pizza money is you putting down $10, $15.
Did you get your coffee at Starbucks?
Yes. Okay. I'm a Starbucks drinker. Yes.
Okay.
I'm a Starbucks drinker. Yes. I'm a Starbucks drinker.
I thought you were talking
only
about
on good days. Hey, on Monday,
racetrack.
Hey, on Monday, it's a Starbucks Monday, Drew, because I hit that game real well, and my Colts are winning. FAMU won. I'm going to Starbucks. I'm treating myself on Monday. But 15 points, right? That's an upset. Now I'm gonna take you even further. A bigger upset, because I'm looking at it right here, according to ESPN Bets. By game time, the line on Grambling State and Jackson State. Jackson State was a 23.5 favorite, a 23.5 point favorite. By closing, it was 3 touchdowns, 21 points. Grambling was a 21 point underdog. There wasn't even a money line on this game. In Vegas, can you imagine that? In Vegas was like, we're not even putting a money line on this game. Grambling covered plus 21. So statistically, what's the bigger upset according to Vegas? Grambling plus 21 over Jackson State. North Carolina Central plus 15.5 came in second. But you can live in another world. Exactly. I'm gonna be pumpkin spice on Monday. You dang right. I'm gonna be pumpkin. I don't do pumpkin spice except when I got a little extra money, because that pumpkin spice is a little extra money. That's an extra 50 cents. I gotta keep my grande white chocolate, latte. But anyway.
Hey, Bryan. Speaking of gambling and Vegas and everything, it is good to see you here on the show today, to know you did not get caught up in the NBA FBI probe for getting inside information on some of those NBA games. So it is good to see you here today, Bryan.
I told Chauncey, you got to learn how to lose some of these games. Not Chauncey, but Rozier, Terry Rozier. I told him, I said, you got to learn how to lose in a better fashion. You can't just the way you were trying to, tank. You can't do it that way. And but I'll tell you, it's not even the insider information with basketball that disappointed me about Chauncey Billups. When you hear all the stuff, and I know we're sidetracking him for a second, but when you talk about the card poker playing,
the reader.
Hey, that's some scumbag-esque. I'm telling you, that's a piece of work. And now, here's the question that nobody's asking, Drew. Now, you guys tell me if anybody else has said this. Has anyone asked the question, why is Chauncey Billups involved with the mob? What has Chauncey Billups gotten himself into where he is the face of this card operation that the mob is running? And don't tell me that he didn't happen to know who these guys were, that he was involved in this. There's you know when you're dealing with people, it maybe not the first time, maybe not the second, but by about the third or fourth time you're doing this, you got to know something ain't right. Now, again, nobody's asking, hey, why was Chauncey even involved with the mob? Right? Exactly. Why aren't we seeing the faces of the mob? Very great point. So, again, that's the second part of this story that'll be interesting to come out. But trust me, somebody's going to be singing, because they're always they get guys like Chauncey and Terry Rozier, because they're trying to get bigger fish. So
and they got public faces,
yes, public faces. So it'd be real interesting to see how soon or how quickly they start singing, and how quickly they start talking about other names. Yes, thank you, Blue Jacket. Allegedly, I forgot to include allegedly in all of these things. Allegedly.
FBI don't come after you unless they 99% sure.
Allegedly.
Anyway. Only thing I'm gonna say about that, Bryan, and you and I talked about this earlier. I think the one way to eliminate this, Adam Silver, take down these notes.
Yeah,
get
we had a
rid
good discussion
of
about
the
this.
player props when it comes to just get rid of player props. Get rid of player props. I know, Bryan, you're gonna come back with the counter that you told me earlier, but I wanted to say, you know, if you're gonna put it out there, do the money line, do the over under as a team. But the player props leaves too much wiggle room where fishy stuff can happen, or it looks like it's happening. Because if you got to get the whole team on that over under, there's too many people. Somebody gonna sing a song. That's why I have more confidence in the team over under or the money lines. When I used to do that, I rarely ever would do player props, and this was one of the reasons why I did not do player props.
Well, okay, so for many people who may not know, so there's two levels to the player props thing, and player props really came out of the fantasy world, because a lot of us are fantasy football players. There might be some people here who are fantasy football players. Well, the player props came out of the fantasy football, right? And one of the things that player props is over unders. Like, no matter what it is, points, rebounds, assists. In football, it could be passing touchdowns, rushing yards. So there's an over under. Will a particular person have more over or less under than a number that's set, right? And so where guys were getting in trouble is they were most times betting on the under. And the easiest way to, if the prop is, hey, will you have 4 assists in a game? Or maybe will you have more or less than 3 turnovers, right? Well, they base those things off of statistical averages that a player has based on his minutes and the opponent, so on and so forth, right? And they come up with a number. Well, if Terry Rozier's line is 2.5 turnovers, right?
That's an easy one for people to get sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a guy who only gets 2 turnovers in a game because you're a pretty good ball, you control the ball well, right? And most times you're not going to commit that many turnovers. If somebody is betting on the over, well, all of a sudden you say, well, damn, he's being real loose with the ball today. Hell yeah, because somebody betting on him to throw more than 2.5 turnovers. So all of that to say, Drew is advocating for them to get away with it. I'm saying it's the genie's out of the bottle. And there's 2 things that have to happen. Sports leagues who are in bed with gambling organizations, and really we're talking sports books like DraftKings, FanDuel, right?
ESPN,
BetMGM, ESPN, right? You either have to remove. You're not going to get rid of the money that these organizations are paying you to be a sponsor. So you have to take away the incentive to underperform. And the way you do that is you get rid of all unders. You have to do away with,
on the individual level.
On the individual levels, you have to do away with underachievement, because Only thing you should be able to bet on is, will he score more than this amount of points, rebounds, assists, steals, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me that I can bet on you performing under a set line, because once you give me an under, all of a sudden I can be influenced or conditioned to get under. And it's as simple for the basketball players, Drew, to take themselves out of a game with a
ankle,
injury,
hamstring,
an ankle, a hamstring injury. Who's to say whether your groin is really hurt? Who's to say whether you really have a hamstring injury?
Who's going to test your groin?
Thank you.
Oh no, Brian. The other one outside of groin that is hard to test is back.
Yeah, Jesus. Yes. Who's to say? Right? So, and so now that you've opened up this can of worms, it's going to be hard to put it back. And so maybe that compromise is, if you are an organization that is sponsorshipping with the NBA or the NFL, then you got to remove the under markets. All I want, if you want to wager on player performance, hey, great. Measure somebody plus performance, not their underperforming. Once you start betting on someone's underperformance, and all of these issues, whether it be some of the other some guys have already been popped for this a couple years over the last couple seasons.
Well, it was some guys in baseball earlier this year who got popped.
Every issue is an underperforming number. Nobody's losing money or betting against you doing well, right? It's all about when you can bet on somebody underperforming, because you can fake how you underperform. You can intentionally throw something. And that's what you have to eliminate.
8 men out. 1919, Chicago White Sox.
Yeah. That's where it all started. So, all right, let's do this. Let's take a break, come back. Let's get into a little deep dive on these big games, upsets. I got a couple of interesting thoughts just looking at these games. And I saw an interesting post here. Who was it who put this in here? Somebody had, I think it was Emmett, had asked the question about the impact of injuries and how it affects the upset. And I'll tell you something. That's what makes it an upset. In order for an upset to happen, most of the time, something unusual or out of the norm has to happen. Sadly, sometimes that's an injury. Other times it could just be a turnover or an unbelievable play. But something special has to happen, and that special, or maybe unique is a better word. Something unique has to happen for there to be an upset. And that's what you had. So let's explore that a little bit when we come out of this break. Also kind of do a quick rundown of some of the things. Drew has the tiebreaker scenarios all figured out in the SIC, as that now has become a 3-team race. Maybe a 2-team race to get to the championship.
It's for the one spot right now.
Right. 2 teams racing for one spot in the SIC now that Albany State has defeated Benedict. And we've got a new BCSN Top 5 for the third week, the computer rankings, the BCSN Top 5 computer rankings. And I want to look at Dr. Cavill's poll this morning from the FCS. I didn't get a chance to, I was still on the road, so I saw some of your guys' show. I didn't get to see it all, so I want to kind of take a look at his voter rankings. I'm a voter, you're a voter. I want to see what the rest of the voters did this week. So we'll look at that.
I'll download those while we on break.
Sounds good. All right, you're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Drew and I will be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
All right. Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. here on a Sunday night. Hopefully, for anybody that's out there that's in Survivor Leagues, congratulations if you were smart enough to roll with the Colts. I wish I was that smart. Sadly, I put my hopes in the Cincinnati Bengals. And once again, for I think now either the second consecutive year or the second in 3 years, they have eliminated me from the Survivor League that I was playing in. And, it's pretty nice when you make it all the way to week 8, 9. You start having visions of making it to the end. And then when a team plays a winless football team at home, a non-division opponent, you're supposed to win that doggone game. But no, not Cincinnati. Not Joe Flacco and the Bengals. Bungles. Sorry to anybody that thought the Falcons with Mr. You Like That, Kirk Cousins, were going to beat the hapless Dolphins. That's another upset that knocked a lot of people out of Survivor. So if you pick the Colts this week, you might be riding home to a title because, man, tough loss, Drew. Man, I'm very upset, very, very hurt. And then especially on the game-winning pass, a halfback touchdown toss to a tight end in the back of the end zone. F you, Cincinnati. That's all I got to say. That's my new T-shirt. F you, Cincinnati. Anyway. All right.
Bryan, before we get into the games, I just got to say this. And I'm going down.
JT just scored a third touchdown. Hold on, Drew. JT just scored his third touchdown. That's like the fourth game this year that he scored 3 touchdowns.
Who had the under? I bet you they mad.
You know what? His prop line for him touchdowns, Drew, started at 2. That's how crazy it was. It started at 2+ touchdowns. They didn't even give you 1.5. They were like, no, you got to do 2+. And here he is with 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a toss. That's a reception. That's not a rushing touchdown because it was one of those. The receiver, he did a sweep in front of the quarterback who tossed it to him. That goes down as a quarterback toss. See, now they're padding stats. Now they're padding stats for Daniel Jones / MVP. I can't believe I'm watching what I'm seeing from the call. I mean, this is I don't even know. I don't want to blink, Drew, because this is going to end badly. I know it is. I don't want to get my hopes up, Drew, because this is going to end. This is not going to end like a fairy tale. I know at some point reality is going to hit. So I'm nervous to want to. You would say, "Hey, Bryan, you should enjoy this." No, I can't. I'm too nervous. This ain't right. Something's not right about this. This is like somebody made a deal with the devil, and like I don't know. Something's not right here. But anyway, I digress.
Bryan, before we get rolling, I just have to say the internet is undefeated, and the trolls have been out with the upsets from yesterday.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Yes, please. Yes.
There's some of the stuff that I have picked up offline. How about
the internet is so funny after?
How about this for North Carolina Central?
No. That's Alabama A&M. That's Alabama A&M getting smacked by Cam. Hey, not only did Cam smack them, but then Andrew Body turned around and smacked them as well.
Right. Here's North Carolina
Central. Hold on. Did you see that live? Did you see that?
No.
Oh my gosh. Cam. So hold on. I wish I would have clipped it. But okay, so here's how this thing goes. The two mascots do a little race, like a 40-yard run. The Bulldog and the Hornet. They do a race. This is on First Take. And I guess the Bulldog's helmet or his head is not as fixed as well as the mascot for the Alabama State Hornet. Well, after the first 10 yards, race was practically over. I mean, the Hornet had won this race because you could see the Bulldog trying to hold on to his head. While this is happening, all you hear Cam Newton being, let me find the right way to say this. Cam Newton being black. Cam Newton just being obnoxious. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. Cam Newton being obnoxious, just And so as he's like sort of taunting the Bulldog gets a swipe in at Cam's hat. And I give the Bulldog credit because he did what I would have done if I was upset. He tried to step on Cam's hat. And he got real close. While it was laying on the ground, he got real close to stepping on it, which would have been great. That would have been classic. Because, Cam wears these fedoras hat, and he tried to step on it. He got real close. And then Cam pushed him off of it. They get into a little pushing. And go back to that picture. That picture is Cam, you see him without the hat, taking a swing at the Bulldog, right? And thankfully he didn't, I don't think he really hit him that hard, or he didn't, he tried to go Will Smith on him. And, he didn't connect, like Will did on Chris Rock. But after that, they got into a little pushing, and Cam was like, man, stop playing with me. And then all of a sudden the Bulldog realized, okay, the playtime is over. Cam was kind of serious. And so then he gave him kind of, okay, man, we cool. Don't worry about it. But the whole episode, all because of, just like Solo Dog said, Cam being Cam. And yeah, so needless to say, that was a bad recipe for what happened in the Magic City Classic. Because, I could do a poll. Who had a bigger punch, Cam Newton or Andrew Body? I don't know who put a bigger punch on Alabama A&M, but man, Jesus.
All right, here you go, Bryan. Internet undefeated.
Wait a minute, not the culture over scheme. No, that is hardcore. Who did that?
I had to go back and find that one.
Oh, that is
I saw it retweeted a couple of times.
that is hard. That is hard, man. Oh, that's petty. That's my
And
kind of petty right there.
nah, this is my kind of petty right here.
Oh, yes, I saw that. I saw that. We took our son to Vegas, and he thought he was big enough to handle Daddy, but Daddy had to put him back in his place. Lord have mercy. And by the way, yes, Grambling State owns the series lead, I believe, over Jackson State. So people may say, what's this from or what? Yes, I think Grambling State owns the series over Jackson. I think they've won 3 of the last 4 meetings. And I think TC Taylor has not beaten Grambling State as a head coach. I think all of those things are realities. Yes, but don't get too loud about that with Jackson State folk, because, you know, they get sensitive. So all I can do is just kind of be a silent observer and chuckle, because if you get too loud, they get real personal, and then they start moving the goalposts. You folks know, if you've been into any kind of Twitter discussion with anyone from Jackson State, you know how sensitive they are. You know, we love y'all. We love Jackson State folks, but boy, y'all get sensitive, and you carry stuff on for it's like they keep bookmarks on everything. They keep bookmarks, man. I tell you, they wait. And they'll wait, Drew. They'll wait like 2 seasons. And then all of a sudden, some tweet that you posted from 2 years ago all of a sudden pop up. And it'll be like, anyway.
Yeah.
You got some attendance numbers, I see. What was the attendance numbers looking like from yesterday? Woo! Holy smokes. 69,372 at the Magic City Classic. Is that the leader in the clubhouse now?
That is clubhouse leader. That overtook State Fair.
Wow. Hey, congratulations to everyone who was at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama for that game. A blowout game, matter of fact. I mean, not even a close ball game. It was over in the first quarter. 56-13, Alabama State. I mean, they were up on them like, what, 21, 28-3? Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. They were on them early. They like no mercy. It was like somebody had talked bad about Andrew Body's mama, and Andrew Body was like, oh, okay, that's how y'all want to be? Yeah, 21-6 in the first quarter, then 28-0 in the second quarter. Game was over by halftime. I don't think did any of that 69-372 stay after halftime? That's my question. What did it look like after halftime? Andrew Body tallies 6 scores, 6 total touchdowns, as Alabama State ran for more than 300 yards. Body was 19 of 24 for 304 passing. He threw all his touchdowns before halftime. He also ran 66 yards on 7 carries. Let me see. 5 passing touchdowns. 5 passing touchdowns, Drew. And 1 rushing touchdowns. This was like that first game of the year when he did this to UAB. Does he have something against schools in the state of Alabama? I mean, man. How much of a bag, what kind of bag is Alabama State going to have to keep him? I'm just curious. Ooh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Number 2 on the attendance standings. South Carolina State. No, this was Norfolk State's homecoming.
Yes.
How did they get 47,273 in a stadium that only holds 30,000? How in the heck did they do that?
That's when you start counting heels and everything else, Brian.
I would love a little more clarification on this. How did you get more people in Dick Price Stadium for Norfolk State homecoming? Lennon says Lennon, my brother, where is that overflow at? And is that overflow in the stadium? I mean, that's interesting. I mean, you're talking a 15,000 plus amount of overflow Yeah, they had to have counted the tailgates. That's crazy. Okay. Norfolk State is a closed stadium, folks. For those of you who have never seen Norfolk State Stadium, there's no open hill. There's no opening. It is a closed stadium. That's not accurate. There's no way. There's no way. I love the fact that my parents' alma mater, had that kind of attendance for a game in which, let me go back and look at that score again, Drew. Another question: how many people stayed after halftime? Because South Carolina State had a 38-14 lead at halftime. They go on to win 51-20. I guess it wasn't the defense that was the problem, or the defensive coordinators. I'm sorry. I guess the defensive coordinators weren't the problem at Norfolk State. So they must still have the same issues that they had before. Them boys, I would love to know what new ways they are counting attendance. Please educate me. I always thought attendance was based on the people that came through the turnstiles that sat in the seats. So if there's a new way, I know it's 2025, and I know folks do things differently these days, but you please educate me on how they do attendance these days, because I'm old school. I thought that's how attendance was measured, based on butts inside of the stadium. I didn't know we were counting people underneath the stadium, counting people inside the fence of the stadium, or people within the block radius of the stadium. I educate me, please. Tickets sold. Does a ticket into the stadium? Is that what we're again? Please, you know what? I know some people at Norfolk State that actually work for Norfolk State. I will investigate, and maybe I'll have an answer next Sunday. Okay. The Las Vegas Classic, 29,655. That's pretty good. Pretty good debut. The visuals were great. Good job, Grambling State. Good job, Jackson State. Looks like the Tigers on both sides did a great job of representing, being on hand. Looks like the city of Las Vegas did some really cool things in some of the feature marquee locations. I've never been to Vegas, so I can't speak on some of it, but just the visuals, so we'll go from there. 17,180 at A.W. Mumford Stadium. I will tell you, there's no way in hell there was 17,180 at that. There's no way.
Advanced sales. They bought the tickets before.
Okay.
You can count sold tickets in attendance.
Okay, well maybe that's what happened, because they were sure as heck not 17,180 in attendance. I had people when we got there. There were people from Southern that were 10,000 might have been the max that were in attendance, physically in attendance at Mumford for that game. You had a little bit of weather. There was some weather when we came out of New Orleans. There was some weather, and really it lasted all the way up until about kickoff, and then it was nice. It was beautiful, but the rain was there for most of the day. So between the rain, the weather, and Southern being bad, homecoming was the previous week in the rain. I think there were a lot of people, from what I hear, were disgruntled, unhappy. And they just were like, yeah, I'm out. This season is over. I'm not coming. Shout out. There were some Rattlers there. Shout out to the Rattlers who showed up. We were probably about 1/4 of the attendance. Honestly, if I'm being honest. So yeah, Steve said, yeah. He said there was about 3. Exactly. Yeah, there was no way 17,000. And then Delaware State at North Carolina Central's homecoming, 12,800. That's a little more accurate, because I think that stadium, O'Kelly Riddick Stadium, only seats about 10 to 12 anyway. So, all right. So good stuff on the attendance. Congratulations to Magic City Classic leader in the clubhouse on the season with 69,000. So the question is, can the Bayou hit 70? I don't think the Bayou Classic will hit 70. And that's probably because Southern could be walking into that game winless in the SWAC and with a 1-10 record. If Southern is 1-10 walking into the Bayou Classic, does the Bayou Classic have 70,000 people?
I don't think so.
Israel says Bayou Classic numbers are falling. Yeah, I can see that. Lennon's saying they're calculating attendance by the tickets that were scanned. Again, so you're selling tickets to what? Come inside the gate or the block? Because I've been to the stadium. I know.
Here's the thing, Brian. If that ticket sold to come into the block allows access to the game, you can count it on attendance.
But it can't. I mean, when it says access to the game, what does access to the game mean?
Right. That means you don't have to do another scan or another ticket to get in. If that one ticket gets you into everything or multiple things, including the game, it counts as attendance.
Ticket for entry on campus? Get the F out of here. No way. This should not be part of our attendance for these games. Let's stop the madness. I know, look, I'm not doubting what you can and can't do. You can do whatever you want to do. But I am calling BS if we're come on, guys, what are we doing? We ought to call BS on all of this. If you know that the stadium only seats 30,000, if they're not putting additional seats in the stadium, then let's not count the game attendance with attendance for the homecoming day festivities. How about that? Maybe we need a different category. Call them homecoming day activities, because let's not call it the attendance for the game, Norfolk State versus South Carolina State. I'm not debating on that. I mean, I trust the reporting. If that's what the reporting says, I know the guys at game day, hey, it is what it is. I'm not debating with them about the reporting. I'm debating with this new thing that we're doing where we're counting attendance on the block, attendance on the campus. If that's the case, then let's go. I want every school to do it. Let's see how many people get access inside of the 1 block radius of the stadium. Then let's all do that. But I still want to do attendance in the actual game. Game day attendance. And the bad part is everybody's not being consistent. Some schools aren't counting students. They aren't counting the band because they don't have a ticket. Some schools are counting people who are within a block radius. I mean, damn. Let's take this seriously. Let's be serious about this.
Let's move on. We were going to talk about some games.
Okay. I'm sorry. Got me fired up, Drew. I do want to make mention here, let's make a mention here. We haven't talked at all about this game, Delaware State, North Carolina Central. And I was watching a little bit of it live. I saw the highlight package on HBCU Game Day on YouTube and encourage all you guys to go check it out. It's good stuff. But this game, I felt like took 3 different swings. And that's what's great about any type of great game. There's 3 levels. There's ebbs and flows to the game, right? And I think coming out of halftime, Delaware State will call this maybe the greatest game in the last, 25, 30 years for them, especially if they end up finishing it out. But after trailing at halftime, 10-7, right? Delaware State goes up 21-10 in the third quarter. They come out of the halftime. They connect on a 72-yard pass play. Like we're so conditioned to think of Delaware State as a run team, but then they hit you with a 72-yard pass play. Caden Bennett to Nige Lolly, 72 yards. 2 plays, 75 yards. Then on their next possession, they 21-10. They take a lead with 7:30. Good teams answer, Drew. North Carolina Central comes back and answered with 2 touchdowns, one at the end of the third quarter, near the end of the third quarter with 1:30 to cut the deficit to 21-17 on an 11-play drive. Then in 2 plays in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter, Central re-grabs the lead 24-21. But like all good teams, Drew, that's not the end. Delaware State answers on an 11-play drive that chews up 5 minutes to regain the lead 28-24. Then they score again 35-24 on an 8-play drive. And pretty much take a lead 35-24 with 1:56. I believe one of the key plays, in a couple of the key plays that I saw in that game from the highlights was I think it was a blocked. I know there was an interception that was thrown by Walker Harris that I think led to a scoring drive for Delaware State. And I think there was also one other turnover, or maybe it was a blocked punt or a blocked kick. I'm trying to recall. But anyway, I mean, incredible effort by Delaware State. Again, rushing for 241 yards. I mean, other than that, it was an even ball game, Drew. It was an even ball game by Del State. I'm not one of those people that predicted anything about Delaware, so I'm not poking my chest. I know there's going to be some people on social media. Give them their whole 24, 48 hours. They're going to be poking their chest out, talking about, I told you Delaware State.
Del State alums who predicted this.
All I want to know is, if you felt so good about Delaware State, did you put some money on it? See, to me, that's how I live. If you feel so good about it, what does the receipt on your bank account say? You know, if you feel that good, did you put some money on it? Other than that, it's all talk. Now, anyway. The other interesting game in the MEAC, Howard in overtime, 33-27 over Morgan State. Howard had to rally in the fourth quarter to force overtime. Howard ends up getting the win. Now, after 1 week, Drew, who's your favorite to win the MEAC?
Oh, it has to be Delaware State.
Why?
They get South Carolina State at home.
Okay.
If Delaware State can hold on, and it is the last game of the season. I believe that is the 22nd of November, the last Saturday, but they get them at home. And they have the 3-2 flip this year.
Oh, okay.
Well, correction. They're split 2-2 because of the neutral site in Philly, because I believe the game in Philly was their home game. Let me double check that. It may be 3-1-1.
Is the Thursday game? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, should Delaware State hold on and actually win, it'll be their first MEAC title since 2007, Brian.
Well, look, when they beat North Carolina Central it was the first time they'd beaten North Carolina Central since 1977. That was a great stat by whoever came up with that stat during the broadcast. It was, I think I tweeted this out in our group only because I saw it on ESPN, right? On the ESPN broadcast. 1977 was the last time that Delaware State won at North Carolina Central.
Yeah. Yes, the game Thursday night is technically Delaware State's home game.
That is going to be an ass kicking. Excuse my language. That is going to be a beatdown.
They get their final 2 games at home. They have Howard at home on the 15th, South Carolina State at home on the 22nd. So I think that is a definite advantage for Delaware State. They they play on. They also have a Friday night matchup in a week. So they've got Norfolk at home on a short week this Thursday, but then they get they get Morgan on the road, but it's on a Friday night. I think that's a game that's going to be on. That's a game, but it's on ESPN Plus on a Friday night. So they get an extra day to prepare for Howard, which doesn't seem like a lot, but at this time of the year in football, those days count. So they get almost like an extra bye after this game Thursday.
No, that Friday game you spoke of is against Morgan. They travel to Morgan on Friday.
That's what I said. Morgan State.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought you said sorry. Wasn't completely paying attention. My bad. Caught me. Yeah, that's gonna be well, I don't foresee, somebody, who is it who asked how does Morgan State gonna fix it? Fix what? I mean, think about this. So what has Morgan State shown you this entire year? They have either lost games that they should have won, or they won games that they should have lost. And one of those is in the negative. Like, remember, they probably should have lost to Miles in the Circle City Classic. They lost on a Hail Mary to Georgetown. Who else? I'm just looking at Morgan State's run here. They had close games. Didn't they lose a close game to Towson?
I believe so. Yeah. That was crosstown. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they lost that game by 5. So
here's something, Brian, also I want you to look at as we finish up talking about the BAC. Let's go to Friday the 14th.
All right.
South Carolina State, North Carolina Central. That game becomes even more interesting.
Elimination game?
It can be, or it could be a chaos game. Let's say Central doesn't drop another one. South Carolina State doesn't drop another one, and Delaware State wins out. Should North Carolina Central beat South Carolina State and give them a loss, and then South Carolina State turn around and beat Delaware State on the last game of the season, Brian, we have now created our 2025 version of Miyakish stuff, because we will have the classic A beat B, B beat C, and C beat A.
That's how we love it. That's how you want it. That's how you want it, right?
Yes. And then I can recoin the phrase Miyakish, and it will be interesting to see who makes it to Atlanta should that scenario happen.
I told you need to go ahead. You should have trademarked that name, Miyakish, by now, Drew. I don't know why you haven't.
Well, we haven't had a chance to pull it out in a while, so.
All right. So you give the odds. So if we were putting odds together on who's going to win the MEAC. Now remember, what did I say the odds at before this week? I think if I recall, I said Delaware State was kind of like 5-1.
Yes.
If I want to, 5-1. How much lower are you moving their odds? 2-1, maybe.
2.5.
2.5-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
You missed out on a good number. If you would have jumped in, which if there was markets available, I would have jumped on a 5-1 market pre that game against North Carolina Central. Yeah. Could have got there easily. Emmett, who's worthy? Who's worthy of going to the playoffs? Honestly. No team in the MEAC is ranked in the top 25. How would anybody get why would anybody get a chance to go to the playoffs? It's not happening. Everybody's season is over in the MEAC after November 22nd. I hate to tell you.
Except for one.
Well, the team that goes to the Celebration Bowl.
All right.
Everybody else is, on recruiting season and the transfer portal. There it is.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this. MEAC fans, there's a lot of people who may not understand how to deal with this Delaware State fan base. Hell, nobody does because we haven't seen it in our lifetime, most of us. But MEAC fans, you should be there supporting whoever comes out your conference at the Celebration Bowl. So I don't want to hear this. I'm canceling my plans for all you folk in Durham or in Orangeburg or wherever you are. Get your butt to Atlanta, no matter who's representing your conference.
Yeah, I agree.
I would think Jackson State may have an outside shot.
No.
Should they finish second? Outside.
When is their last game of the regular season? Would they be eligible?
They do finish early enough. They finished the weekend before they play Alcorn in the Capital City Classic the weekend before Thanksgiving.
But okay, here's the scenario. Oh, I can't. Okay, we're just gonna fast. We're moving. We're not taking a break. We're going right into swag talk. Good, perfect. Thank you, Zach.
That'll be if a lot of that's going to be dependent on Alabama State.
Well, but understand the scenarios, Drew. Because Grambling State beat them. See, the scenario that would have been best is if Jackson State won and then went to Tallahassee and lost, right? But now that you've lost, I don't know if a two-loss SWAC East team cannot get to the playoffs. I don't think.
But they only have one loss right now.
Who?
Oh, yeah, they would have to lose again. I got you.
Yes, Jackson State would have, and at that point, Jackson State has 3 losses. They have 3 losses, and think about the teams that are left on the schedule. Who they can lose to. I mean,
it's not even that. It's where those teams are. Those wins against those teams won't help you.
Exactly. That's my point. So yeah, I agree 100% what Zach said. Season's over. It's Celebration Bowl or bust. So everybody, that should be the new marketing campaign, Mr. Grant. Celebration Bowl or bust. I don't know. There's only one destination for you in the MEAC and SWAC. It's the Celebration Bowl. Make sure you're in Atlanta because you ain't going nowhere else. I'm sorry, that's not nice, but it's the reality. But hey, you can be in worse places. I mean, come on, let's not. Everybody should be fighting to get to Atlanta anyway. So get those visions of the playoffs out your mind. It's not happening. They're the SWAC scores. Of course, Jackson State falling. A couple of injury things. Let me first say I'm reading a report here from HBCU Sports. Injured Grambling quarterback in good spirits after scary injury against Jackson State. If you weren't watching the game live, we happened to be those of us at the, who were part of the support staff getting on the bus after the FAMU Southern game. We were scoreboard watching, game watching, right? We actually saw the play. And so for anybody who saw the play, very scary moment in the midst of that game. Late in the fourth quarter, Grambling State had regained the lead, 24-23, I believe. And Savion T-Set was on a scramble play, and I believe he was diving, not sliding. I think he was diving for some yardage, maybe a first down. And he took a hit from one defender, and then another defender kind of came in right at the trail end of the play. And next minute you saw was the young man kind of laid out on his back, and he was still. I had seen it the previous week at the Florida A&M game when a young man on our team was presumably concussed and he was knocked out. And I did see that young man on the trip with us. He's in good spirits, probably still going through the concussion protocol, I would imagine. I didn't ask him any of the personal questions like that, but I was just happy to see him. But for T-Set, he was out cold. And instantly you saw the medical training staff come to him to the point, they brought the stretchers, the ambulance cart out. This happened with 1:55 to play. T-Set in the ball game at that point, he had thrown already 2 touchdown passes. He had rushed for another touchdown. I mean, having a great game. I mean, if he wasn't the MVP of the game, he probably should have been. But I mean, having a great day. And so the visuals that you saw of the Jackson State and Grambling State players huddled, presumably praying, or at least trying to find a way to, hey, we still have to finish this game. And then you saw the ambulance, and I'm assuming it was T-Set's mother that was in the van, sort of waving to the crowd as the ambulance was leaving the stadium. So the report from this article by Kendrick Marshall, HBCUSports.com, Grambling State Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics, Dr. Travion Scott, expressed gratitude to the sports medicine staff, team doctors, and emergency response personnel for their swift and professional care. The immediate attention and coordinated efforts exemplify the highest standard of care and compassion for our student athletes. Savion embodies the spirit and resilience of a true G-man, and we stand firmly beside him and his family during this time. So the university president, the report says he is responsive, in good spirits after sustaining the injury in the fourth quarter of that Las Vegas Classic.
Yeah. But Brian, here's the thing. That Las Vegas Classic ended with both teams with their number 2 behind center.
Yes, that's the other key storyline, because what earlier in the ball game, Jacoby Morgan goes out. Conflicting reports from what I was seeing. What was the nature of his injury, or is it still
I did not
unknown?
see, because I was, like I say, I was flipping back and forth. And I was driving back to the hotel during this game. So all I know is I saw him, and then I didn't see him, and I heard that he was out for the remainder of the ball game, and I think he was on like crutches or something like that at that point.
Let's see. Here's another article. Kendrick Marshall is all over it for HBCU Sports. Taylor provides injury update on Jackson State quarterback Jacoby Morgan. Morgan suffered an apparent lower leg injury during the first quarter of that game. Let's see, just kind of scrolling. After the game, T.C. Taylor addressed Morgan's condition, but said he could not provide a clear update, mentioning only what he observed and expected to learn more after consulting with medical staff. I mean, obviously you don't know what's what. Morgan was replaced by redshirt freshman Parker Stofa, who went 7 of 12 for 91 yards before true freshman Jared Lockhart played the fourth quarter, leading the Tigers on a scoring drive.
So here's the thing, Brian. Obviously, first praying for the speedy recovery of both quarterbacks from this game.
Yeah.
But for Jackson State, with Jacoby and Morgan, we don't know if it's just a day-by-day injury or something that's going to be sustained. How does this affect the race in the East now, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, looking at
now, and then before I cut to that, for the, let's see, Jackson State, Alabama State rematch crowd, where, I mean, let's be real. Jackson State and Prairie View now are your top two teams in the conference. Or is it Alabama State now? Because do you move Alabama State ahead of Jackson State with the injury to your QB1? I know y'all don't want to hear that, Jackson State, but these are things that we have to discuss.
This is a tough stretch for Jackson State. I guess you're going to find out about how good this freshman quarterback is.
And how good the defense is, because you're going to even more rely on the defense in the running game.
You are. But so here's the thing, and I know I don't have any. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have any preconceived notions about FAMU and Jackson State this upcoming Saturday, other than this is a tough travel spot for Jackson State. How they handle the travel will be interesting, right? Because you are coming out of Vegas, going home.
4-hour flight.
And then you got to get ready to head to Tallahassee on Friday and be in Tallahassee on Saturday for a Saturday night game. Okay. I've never been to Vegas, but I've had enough people tell me, maybe there won't be an effect, but I just know that it's
Brian, that's crap.
What's crap?
If you're there for 2 days, your body feels it.
Well, how long does your body feel it though, Drew? That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean,
anytime I've flown from the West Coast back east, it's really taken me about 3 days for me to get back right.
Okay. Well, I mean, and then they got to get on a plane and head to Tallahassee. So, I mean,
by the time you get back, your body's going to get back to Central Time Zone physically. Now you got to hop on a plane and go to Eastern Time Zone. And the transition from Central to East is not as dramatic as the transition from Central to West to Pacific Time Zone. But it does mess with your mind when you shift time zones like that constantly.
Okay. Look, I don't have any. I just know this is an interesting stretch when you're not 100%.
Yes.
And I mean 100%, meaning you don't have your top guy. Now, your backup may be able to come in and he may do great things and he may be the future. and this may be his moment to shine. Okay. But it does raise, okay, this is where the championship medal comes through. You know, we get a witness how tough a champion well, Israel, who else has traveled from Vegas? Come on now. Where else has anybody else traveled to Vegas and then have to turn around and come back and then go on another road game? I mean, Jackson State is in unprecedented territory. I'm gonna give you the closest question.
I'm gonna give you the closest comparison that I had. This happened to us last year, both to us, Morehouse, and Tuskegee, after we played in the HBCU NBA All-Star Classic. We played that game on a Saturday evening. We both traveled out on Sunday morning. We didn't travel out until Monday morning because we stayed for the All-Star game. We traveled out on Monday morning. Tuskegee came in, traveled, had to go to East Coast time because they had a Tuesday game in Ohio.
No, you were done.
And then before they came back to Tuskegee, whereas Morehouse had to travel in. We got in Monday evening into Atlanta and had to play Tuesday night at home. And we talked to the Tuskegee people also. Those players were physically drained after doing that. Now, we found both teams happened to find a way to win those games, but it was taxing on those players physically and mentally with that transition. And we're talking about 20-year-old kids having to deal with this. We're not talking about 30 and 40-year-old adults who may be used to these type of traveling schedules. In this conference, this travel is unprecedented. And Gramblin's the same way.
Yeah.
The travel is unprecedented.
I don't know who just came from California. Nobody's come from California, Israel. Nobody has played a game in California and come. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking about. I respect you immensely, but I don't. Who's come from California and had to turn around and play? Lincoln in California? Is that what you're thinking about?
Like I said, only California. I was just giving a reference to what we did last year.
Hell, didn't they stay around?
Yeah, they stayed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on, man. But anyway, here's the stretch for Jackson State, right?
At least Grambling is at home this week.
Yeah, they come off of a tough game. Well, they play a Grambling tough game in Vegas, lose by 2. They're going to Tallahassee, taking on Florida A&M. And then they go back home. They play Mississippi Valley State. The game that I got that has my ears and antennas perked up is the game on November 15th against Bethune-Cookman. And the only reason I say that is because your question about this standings and the rankings, right? Well, Bethune-Cookman plays nobody over the next couple weeks. I was looking at who they have. I mean, right now you have 3 teams tied for first place, technically in the East. Jackson State at 3-1, Alabama State at 3-1, Bethune-Cookman at 3-1. You know, Jackson State beat Alabama State. Alabama State beat Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman hasn't played Jackson State yet. Okay, and then a half a game back is Florida A&M at 2-1. They've lost to Alabama State. They played Jackson State. They haven't played Bethune yet. It's funny, Drew. At the beginning of the season, we were tossing around scenarios of 4 teams in the East. Bethune-Cookman was not one of the 4. Bethune-Cookman was not one of the 4 coming in. Just to point that out. But Bethune plays Arkansas Pine Bluff. No, they got Valley and Grambling the next couple weeks. That'll be interesting. What does Alabama State have? Now, Alabama State has an interesting road ahead because this will be interesting because they take on the two top teams in the West the next 2 weekends. They travel to Prairie View, and then they host Texas Southern. Those are legitimate games that will make or break not only who comes out of the West, but where Alabama State falls in the mix in the SWAC East. You know, so look, the next, we still got 5 weeks left in the SWAC. They will be very fun and interesting to pontificate about. You know, and I would expect nothing less from you, Israel. I would expect nothing less of you seeing Jackson State winning these, because I don't think in your wildest imagination can you see anyone else other than Jackson State. And hey, that's fair. That's you know, but okay. Drew, any thoughts on? I mean, I know it's a loaded bag here. Is it too early to start making predictions, or what's the game? I mean, I know we're going to talk about next week's games here in a second, but what's the game this week or next week that has your ears perked up the most? All right, Drew must be in the middle of something. You see how Drew does me in the middle of the show? Drew has to take a call. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break, come back, and I know WSSU Ram Nation has started taking applications for the next head coach of Winston-Salem State. We'll talk about the CIAA and the SIAC coming up on the other side of the break. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. If you stuck around this long, you know, I don't know why you haven't. You know, you may not like us, but you're watching. So hit the thumbs up and the like button. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural taste, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, maybe A.D. Drew. I'm not sure if I've got Drew back. I don't know. Drew must be on an important call right now here. So we'll see. We'll see where Drew is. Coming back, I'll finish up with a couple of scores here. Alcorn State 32-10 over Valley. As it relates to the standings, Alcorn State gets their first conference win. That leaves Valley and Southern as the lone winless SWAC conference teams. Of course, Southern, new coach, Fred McNair taking over. 35 points is the most points that Southern has scored in a loss all year. I mean, Southern is 1-7 overall. In the previous 6 losses, they'd only scored 14 points. Having been there for that, obviously I was there for that game. I don't know if that – I think that is a sort of a mixed bag of Florida A&M's defense, which is not great to say the least. It's allowing like 30 points a game. So, I mean, if you can't score on Florida A&M's defense right now, that says something about your offense. But there's also maybe a little bit of some new things that Southern did. I haven't watched a whole lot of Southern this year, so I can't tell you. I don't know how rejuvenated they were. I will say the one thing that impressed me about Southern, they were, for much of that game, one of 2 things would happen for Southern. If they extended past the first 3 plays and got a first down, they would matriculate the ball down the field and end up scoring a touchdown. And I think they scored touchdowns from 3 yards out, 2 yards out, and a pair of 1-yard touchdowns. But all of those 4 scoring drives, while the game was close, I mean, at one point, Southern had a 28-22 lead in the early part of the 4th quarter or late 3rd quarter. So, okay, Southern was what they were. I've said that they were trash. I've said that they were I don't know if I said they were trash. I said they were the worst team in the SWAC. I have said that, but that was under the previous coach. So maybe they're a little different now that they have Fred McNair leading them. So yeah, there you go. Again, the biggest surprise to me personally was Alabama State 56-13 over Alabama A&M. I mean, the line was like 11 points, 11 and a half. I honestly thought Alabama A&M would be a little more competitive. So yeah, wrong about that one. Prairie View 38-30. So I had to make some adjustments here because I was a little miffed about this score because the 2 previous opponents that played Lincoln, and I believe that was Alcorn and Mississippi Valley State, scored 42 and 49 points respectively. But I was told by a couple of different sources that this game was shortened. I don't understand why we keep doing this, but I mean, anyway, And they say it was due to weather, not because of the competition. Prairie View scored 24 points in the first quarter. Apparently, the game was shortened in the second half to maybe 6-minute halves. I don't even know. Maybe they were just flipping coins and kicking field goals. I don't know. But I agree 100% that we should quit playing Lincoln. There has got to be a better way. You know what? Honestly, what I think it is, Dave. SWAC schools have gotten so scared about playing their conference schedule during homecoming. You can't get away from it. You really can't, because of when you want to have homecoming, which is in October, right? You want to have your October, and that is in the heart of the SWAC schedule. But schools are trying to avoid playing SWAC opponents in the heart of their schedule. So they schedule VUL and Lincoln, knowing that these schools, VUL, if you're not a Division II school, only Division II should be scheduling VUL, and no Division I school should be scheduling Lincoln. You shouldn't be. I'm sorry. You really shouldn't. So, I just anyway, homecoming is not always about the game. I have to remind myself it's not always about the game. So it is what it is. So, and then quietly, don't sleep on Bethune-Cookman. Another 30 points. If I'm not mistaken here, let me take a look here at what Bethune is doing. I think Bethune now, this is I feel like this is the fourth. Nope. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the sixth consecutive week, Bethune-Cookman has scored more than 30 points. I'm jealous. If you know, you know. Of course, 31-14 this week, 45-14 last week against Southern. They lost to Alabama State, but scored 35 points. The previous week, they scored 41 points in beating Alabama A&M. They put 35 points on Edward Waters, who, we've seen Edward Waters put points up on people in the SIC. And then, of course, it all started with the South Carolina State game, where they put up 41 points against South Carolina State in a loss on the road. But 6 consecutive weeks of scoring 30 points or more. I'm not sure anybody else has done that, guys. Somebody tell me, is anyone else scoring over 30 points a game in 6 consecutive weeks? If I go and look at the SWAC statistics here, right, in terms of maybe Alabama State. That might be the only other team. In terms of conference play, maybe Jackson State. Well, no, because Jackson State just had a game where it only scored 24. Bethune-Cookman, just keep your eyes open. If your eyes aren't open now, they definitely should be. They definitely should be. Okay, let's switch over to the CIAA here. Some scores out of the CIAA. Of course, the big game on the block was Johnson C. Smith at home, 52-27 victory over Winston-Salem State. WSSU Ram Nation has officially called for, he's posted the new job search. So, he has run out their statistics stating that the 5 previous Winston-Salem State coaches have all won championships. This current coach, Robert Massey, has failed to do so in 5 or 6 seasons. And so, yeah. But anyway, Johnson C's moves to 7-1, 5-1 after a third quarter in which they outscored Winston-Salem 21-3. Fourth quarter, you had some fireworks. A total of 38 points were scored in the fourth quarter. But Winston-Salem only outscored Johnson C 21-17 in that fourth quarter. Game was pretty much well decided by that point in time. Statistically, Kelvin Durham, 22 of 30, 351 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Pretty good day for Johnson C. Smith. Going back to the schedule, Elizabeth City State 62-14 over Lincoln. Fayetteville State 31-13 over Shaw on the road. Virginia Union 24-7 at home against Bowie State. Another big day. Let's take a look at Curtis Allen, another nearly 200-yard rushing day. He ends up with 198 on 30 carries and a touchdown. As Virginia Union racks up 280 net yards. Did Maurice Flowers win Coach of the Year last year? And if he did, or did that go to Dr. Alvin Parker? And if Maurice Flowers didn't win Coach of the Year, was it because of the last 2 games of the season? Welcome back, A.D. Drew, ladies and gentlemen. Virginia State with a 51-34 victory at home against Bluefield State ends their winning streak. And Livingstone with a 44-22 victory over VUL for homecoming. All right, so here are the standings in the CIAA. It's still 2 teams unbeaten in conference play, Virginia Union and Fayetteville State, both 5-0. And, of course, neither team plays each other. So, assuming Johnson C. Smith doesn't do well, really that's the only – well, let me see. Hold on. Who's Fayetteville got? Oh, well, here you go. November 11th. What do you know, Drew, this week? The –
Fayetteville plays Johnson C this week.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for
That's gonna be the game of the year in the CIAA.
Yeah, game of the year in the CIAA. The winner, I can't say the winner punches their ticket yet because, maybe so. Fayetteville plays Winston-Salem. I don't see them losing that game the following week. And then now Johnson C plays Livingstone. We've already seen them stumble. So Johnson C is in that similar point of where they were a year ago, right? Don't forget, a year ago, Johnson C. Smith was unbeaten, 8-0, coming into the last 2 weeks of the season and fumbled the bag. You're on mute, Drew. And so, that's what's on the line. Virginia Union, their schedule pretty much is locked in and easy. I'm pulling up their schedule. They play Bluefield State.
But they still have Virginia State.
Okay, you got a rivalry game, so let's not write them off just yet. But
it's just like in the SIAC, Albany State still has Fort Valley.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Let's not write them off just yet. Still there's an opportunity, but it's a 3-team race with only Virginia State really being an far outside shot. I mean, Virginia State would have to win their remaining games. Fayetteville State would have to lose their last 2. And then Johnson C would have to lose to Livingstone at the end of the season. Thus, Virginia State, if they beat, Virginia State they don't really control their own destiny, but they can really play some chaos in this whole thing, right? The matchup that everybody's going to have all eyes on this upcoming Saturday is Fayetteville State versus Johnson C. Smith, which is at Fayetteville State. It's a 1:00 kickoff. It's on HBCU Go TV and the Griot. So they have done a good job of kind of charting out and planning this one. So all eyes will be on Fayetteville, North Carolina, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't think there's any other, there's no real other games happening on November 1 in the CIAA that have any type of impact like that. I don't see Virginia Union losing, even though they're going on the road to Bluefield. Virginia State hosting, Livingstone hosting, Shaw. It is what it is from that point.
Brian, can I answer this question?
Yeah, because it's a good transition over to the SIAC.
Why do I keep saying Albany State has Fort Valley? Because in a rival game, stranger things have happened. Witness last night. And we've seen, and for years, I have seen Albany State and Fort Valley where a team that's come in and has knocked the other team off and knocked them out of contention for a Eastern Division crown, but now just a playoff, a championship game. And it's not just between those two rivals. It's between any of these rivals. So that's why I mentioned those particular rival games: Virginia State, Virginia Union, Albany State, Fort Valley, Miles, Tuskegee. There's certain things that happen when strange bedfellows get together.
All right, let's move over to the SIAC, Drew. Edward Waters, 55-41 road win over Clark Atlanta.
All offense, no D.
Clark had I saw the graphic. Clark had a 34, doing the math here, 34-27 lead at the end of the third quarter. Edward Waters came out in the fourth quarter with a box of rat poison and scored 4 touchdowns on Clark Atlanta, including a 31-yard run, a 60-yard passing touchdown, a 57-yard run, and then a 35-yard pick six ball game. Rat poison.
Brian,
Clark Atlanta has swallowed it whole this season. They dropped 2-6, 1-5 overall.
633 yards of total offense for the Tigers.
Oof. Jesus. Ooh, 633.
633 yards of offense. Noah Biden, 22 of 39, 368, 4 touchdowns, and 2 INTs.
Brady Tillman, running back.
I was getting that was the next one.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Brady Tillman, 15 carries, 171 yards, and a touchdown with a long of 57. For you mathematically challenged people, that's 11.4 per carry. And just good, Jontarius Thomas, 18 attempts for 91 yards. That's normally your clubhouse leader, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
When you got 18 for 91 at 45.1 carry yards. So how about Davari Morris, 4 receptions, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I mean,
Makai Lovett, 7 catches, 109 yards for 2 touchdowns. 368 receiving yards, Brian. 368 receiving yards, Brian. There are teams that don't have 368 yards of total offense, and they just got that through the air. Oh, let me break that down even further, Brian. Edward Waters had 265 on the ground. I could pull up 4 stat sheets right now where a team did not even get 265 in the game.
Edward Waters is by clear and away the second best offense in the SIAC. Looking at here, scoring, averaging 32.5, which is second to Albany State's 37.4. Offensively, averaging 397 a game, which is second to Albany State's 431. They're third in total touchdowns, right behind Kentucky State. I mean, I know I said what I said, but Allen and Kentucky State might disagree
they've
a
scored.
bit.
They've had some defensive scores, both those teams.
Yeah. It really is fascinating here in the SIC. Okay, and then of course, while I mentioned that, and I only want to mention that because I get a kick out the whole rat poison thing. Hey, what is this? Clark at 23,462. Were they on that list? How come Clark wasn't on that list?
I don't know, but Clark does have the advantage. They got that whole hill on that one side that they can sell. And unlike most places, Brian, where the hill is in the end zone, Clark's hill is actually where your sideline bleachers would be at.
Yeah.
And I think Clark just had to have a slightly better homecoming attendance for reported than Morehouse. I'm just personally saying.
Was it Clark's homecoming?
Yes,
was that Clark's homecoming?
That was Clark's homecoming.
Okay.
I personally think they must have looked at our number and said we gonna put a number out higher than Morehouse's number. Yeah, I said it. I want to see the clicker.
Again, from what we I want an investigation. I want a journalist to do some investigative reporting on attendance. Before I get out there talking about attendance matters, I want somebody to do some reporting. Thank you. Brian, I'm calling for an investigation. I'm calling for an investigation into attendance. We need to standardize attendance.
Can I give you a hint?
Hold on. Let me finish my rant. Because someone seriously may be listening. This is a great opportunity for a young journalist, somebody who's looking to get into this, maybe a young student, maybe somebody's looking and maybe they're listening. Here's how I would do this. I would first start at the conference level. I would ask the conferences, are there standards for how attendance is taken? Okay, do some investigative numbers. Does the conference even care? First off, so find out, is there a standard of the attendance? Okay, no, then go through every school. Start with the athletic director, the ticket office, and ask them, how do they account for attendance this season? Has the policy changed from maybe last year over the last 2 or 3 seasons? Has the policy changed? Right? And then do a little side feature. Do the schools do anything differently for homecoming games? Because we've already seen, presumably, that some schools are counting anyone who gets in the vicinity to add to their attendance numbers. But anyway,
Brian, here's another chapter in the book of I'm not the AD, I'm just AD. How to tell if your school is making up attendance numbers. Number one, if their attendance ends in a 5 or a 0, more than likely they made that number up. And I'm going to give you an example, Brian. You may want to close your ears, but Florida A&M's homecoming attendance 25,550 ended in a 5 or a 0. Probably not accurate. You know what? I'm not even going to disagree with you on it, Drew, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to disagree with you.
I knew that number was Fugazi when I saw it. I just kept quiet because it was Florida A&M.
But I that one just sticks out in my mind.
All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, Drew.
Number two, when you have a hard sellout in a place and there are many empty seats, probably made up. No, number three. Here's the sneaky one, Brian. What year was FAMU founded?
Oh, 1887.
So, just a hint, y'all. If your school's attendance, if the last two digits equal the year your school was founded, chances are more than likely. So, Brian, for example, if the FAMU's attendance is 21,687, might be made up. Why? 87 is your giveaway.
There you go. Look.
Just a couple things for y'all to look at.
Well, here's the thing, right? That number that FAMU posted, 25, whatever, again.
25,550.
The stadium, technically, that's what it used to hold. When they reconfigured it, it only holds about 21. And you remember the days when FAMU used to bring in bleachers in the north end zone, right?
Right. Yeah, they turned it to the party decks or whatever now.
That is the party deck. And I think I bet you the max number of people that you can get into that party deck is maybe 500 people. Right. I don't think it's that many. So I knew that 25.5 was I knew that was kind of messed up.
You know what happened?
I saw it.
Brian, somebody Googled how many people does Bragg hold? And Google gave them the old number.
You're right. I mean, because I've been there when I've seen less reported numbers, and
Emmett, you don't even want to even go down that road.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why, Emmett. Because obviously you have student tickets, which are part of the student activity fees, so those are free if they're even counted as ticketed people. Because sometimes you just pass through a gate. No, sometimes they just pass through a gate with your student ID.
Yes.
So that's one thing. Obviously, the president has their comps. The athletic director have their comps. The student athletes have their comps. The visiting student athletes have their comps. The visiting athletic director have their comps. So keep something in mind. Although you have this attendance number, say 20,000, that is not 20,000 paid. They don't report what paid attendance is. They're supposed to report butts in the seat. So don't be mistaken and think that just because they have an attendance of 20,000, if you're doing $40 per ticket, that's $800,000 that they just earned. No, sir. That is not even close.
I want to know what these and whoever's doing that story that I suggested, I want them to go start with the NCAA laws or standards on how attendance is taken. And when you start asking questions of schools, please cite, well, NCAA statute, whatever, or rule number, whatever, bylaw number, whatever, states that attendance should be this. How does your school adhere to these standards? Yeah, please. Again, I have to, you know what? We need to go find it. Next week, Drew, we need to pull up.
Good, right about that.
Yeah, we need to pull up the NCAA rules on reporting tickets, Drew. We need to reporting attendance. We need to pull that up directly out the book.
Yeah.
Let's finish with the SIC here, real quick.
And then let's get to the ranking.
Yeah, Albany State, of course, big game, 31-3 over Benedict. Benedict was unbeaten at home hosting Albany State. Did not matter as Isaiah Knowles returned to the field.
Who was that?
Isaiah Knowles.
And who did I tell you if they were played that Albany State would win?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 22 of 37, 294, 3 touchdowns, and an INT. Had a good game. They also had a rushing touchdown. As a team, they rushed for just under 200 yards. But Defensively, they forced Darius Ocean, maybe in one of his worst games of the season, 9 of 31. He had 2 interceptions. They limited the Benedict rushing attack to just 63 yards. And Benedict had been the best defense. Look, these were the top 2 defenses in the league up to this game.
But the
problem was
Brian, Benedict's offense has not been one of the top offenses.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Exactly what I was going to say.
That defense, Benedict's defense, has generated points in previous games. It did not generate any points in this game.
All right.
I think, did they get a safety? No.
Wrong
game I'm thinking about.
Wrong game, 31-3. Okay, so here are the standings as of right now in the SIC. Albany State, unbeaten, 6-0, 7-1 overall. Benedict in second place, 6-1. They only have one more conference game on the schedule. They are 7-1 overall as well. Kentucky State, 5-1 in conference play. They played one less game than Benedict, but 6-2 overall. Kentucky State has played Albany State, second game of the season. They lost 21-49. They do not play Benedict. Upcoming games for Kentucky State are against Clark and Lane. They will be favored to win both of those games by large margins. Playoff scenarios.
No. Tiebreaker.
No? Oh, tie-breaking scenarios. All right, let's go through them. This is SIC tie-breaking scenarios.
Yes.
So head-to-head competition between the 2 tied teams. So let's just presume that Kentucky State and Benedict finish 7-1. Benedict's final regular season game is against Savannah State, which I don't know. You saw Savannah State. Is Savannah State going to put up a fight?
They'll put up a fight, but they don't have their offense is not the best. It's going to be a low-scoring game because neither one of these teams have great offenses, but they do both have good defenses.
All right, number 2, win percentage versus all common opponents. Oh, Jesus,
that's going to be the same.
It is okay. You've done
because both teams are going to finish 7-1. That means neither team has lost to whoever the common opponent is. They beat them.
Okay.
Because both of their only loss would be to Albany State.
All right. Number 3, head-to-head results versus common opponents based on their order of SIAC finish. Oh, Jesus. And proceeding through other common opponents based upon their descending order finish. What the hell? What does this mean, Drew, in layman's terms?
You start at the top, and this really helps in a sport like basketball more than football. So head-to-head versus common opponents. So who finishes number 1 in the conference? Your head-to-head versus that one.
Albany State.
Both teams beat Albany State, and you keep going down until you see if there's a win-loss difference between those common opponents. It's going to be the same on this one.
Oh, okay. Glad you've already looked into that. Jesus.
Yes.
There's got to be an easier way to do number 3. But anyway, number 4, combined win percentage of conference opponents.
That's where we're probably going to get it. But there's a chance that could wind up being tied. And I've got this, and this is courtesy of Kendrick, D2 football guy. And he's predicted a 2-way tie between Benedict and Kentucky State, with rule number 4 being applied. KSU's opponents' combined SIAC record, which is number 4, would potentially be right now is 22-27. SIAC opponents: Albany State 6-0, Edward Waters 4-2, Savannah State 3-3, Miles 3-3, Morehouse 3-3, Central State 2-5, Clark 1-5, Lane 0-6. Benedict's opponents combined records: 1 game better, 23-26. Albany State, Edward Waters, Fort Valley, 3-3. We did not mention them. Allen, 3-3. Savannah State, 3-3. Central State, Tuskegee, who's 1-5. Clark is 1-5. So right there, that gives Benedict the edge so far. Benedict has the edge right now. So this really is going to come down to how their opponents do the remainder of the season.
Okay.
So right now, Benedict has.
Do you think it ends at 4?
I hope it ends at 4.
When number 5 talks about NCAA regional rankings, when does that start?
They should. I don't know if they come out this Monday or next week. But you remember the first regional ranking, it just lists the 10 teams. It doesn't give you the numbers. So it's going to be interesting. And I think, like I said, I think regional rankings come out. By the way, who did you say Benedict has left on their schedule?
In conference, Savannah State.
And then Kentucky State once again has who?
Lane and Clark. Clark and then Lane. Because they had a bye week this week, and then they come out of the bye and they finish up home against Clark, on the road at Lane.
Yeah, it's thank God I'm not the nerd in the office having to figure this one out. So they've got Clark this week. That's going to be fun. Anyway, let's get to these rankings, man, so we can get out of here.
All right.
Thanks, Jack, for clarifying that. They come out tomorrow.
Real quick, make sure we look at that schedule here for the
Hold
upcoming
up.
schedule.
Blue Jacket says KSU strength of schedule will get worse with Clark and Lane. Clark is a common opponent, so that won't affect either strength of schedule. Lane is the down is the one that's going to bring Kentucky State's strength of schedule down. That's going to be it. Clark is a common opponent, so they would get the same amount of points for with Clark in both of them. It's going to be Lane versus here you go. Lane and Tuskegee are going to make the difference.
All right. This upcoming weekend, I don't know, your highlight game in the SIC. Yeah, ugly schedule in the SIC. You guys are taking on Allen. Albany State hosting Savannah State. Yeah. Edward Waters likes to put up points, so they'll probably do that against Central State. Kentucky State, the way Clark Atlanta is giving up points, they're giving up points like well, let me not say it. But anyway, Kentucky State should score a lot of points against Clark. Okay.
No, Brian, you laugh when I'm saying this. This Lane Tuskegee game actually is going to affect who finishes 2 and 3 in the conference.
Really?
Yes.
How's that possible?
If Lane beats Tuskegee, that actually helps Kentucky State's strength of schedule.
Okay.
That game is going to – these games that shouldn't matter will wind up determining the race, determining who gets into this playoff or the championship game.
All right. Any other game? I think we've kind of gone through all of the upcoming matchups for this upcoming week. Okay, let's go to our top 5 rankings, Drew. Our BCSN top 5 rankings. Again, these are computer generated rankings. Hold on. Before we do these, can we put up Cavill's rankings first? Can we do that first? I want to see Doc's rankings. We talked about the poll rankings, poll humans versus computers.
Did we get to the final poll?
Yeah. Before I know that's one thing. Okay, so before you show that, Drew, let's reveal who we personally voted for.
Let's get the D2 out the way because we don't have his D2 poll. So let's talk about our D2 poll. Then we go to the.
I got you. All right. I just want. Well, hold on. Let me go back. The reason why I wanted to do it all together because I like to clip all this in one nice little bundle, and it makes it easy when we're clipping if we're just talking about everything all at once. Thank you. Okay. So this morning, in case you missed, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the latest major division poll rankings. Humans like A.D, Drew, and I. Wow, I am shocked. North Carolina Central falls from 2 all the way to 7. Wow, that's drastic. That is a heavy drop. Texas Southern on a bye week stays put at 6. Surprisingly to me, Dell State only moves up from 7 to 5. South Carolina State moves up from 5 to 4, and somehow somebody voted them first. I have not my poll, but okay, everybody's entitled. Jackson State drops from 1 to 3. They still have a few people that picked them first. I can understand that given the fact of what happened. You could chalk it up to the injury of losing your quarterback, and you still lost by a field goal. But, when I try to break it down by saying you lose by a field goal, people jump all over me. But anyway, it is what it is. So, some people want it one way and then you want it another. But okay. This is the most shocking thing to me right here. Prairie View moves up from 4 to 2. But somehow, Drew, a team that had no first place votes a week ago, none, picked up 4 votes after only scoring 38 points in a shortened game against Lincoln, California. You have got to be freaking kidding me. I have no idea how that happens. I'm floored. Was there any truth to the fact that Mike Washington was voting? Did he vote Prairie View in first place? Did he say it? What did he do?
He probably did, but Brian, he wasn't the only one who voted Prairie View first place.
Okay, obviously, 4 people voted.
And if you would have saw it this morning, I was one of those Prairie View voters.
Are you okay? So let's stop. Okay, and then number 1, the new number 1 for the first time since. I don't know what Doc said. Jackson State had been number 1 for some ungodly period of time, like multiple weeks, double-digit weeks. They move up from 3 to 1, 5 first-place votes. All right. So, Drew, you are one of the 4 people who voted Prairie View number 1. Please explain. And again, voters, everybody has an explanation and a reason. I'm not going to say whether you're right or wrong. I'm going to choose to either laugh at you or say, okay, I get it. But go ahead, Drew. Why did you pick Prairie View number 1?
And this is a tough one. And I'm glad you put that. I'm glad you asked me the question, Edwin. I asked it. I did it this morning, and I'll do it again. Obviously, with Jackson State losing, we had to have a do number 1. I sat there, thought about it, and both of these teams are even. But there is only one of those 2 teams right now, Brian, that is in first place in its division and or conference of those 2 teams that I'm considering. That was Prairie View. So that was the determining factor. 4-0 versus 3-1 is why I gave Prairie View the edge. That's simple. Everything else was even. That was my reason for giving Prairie View the number one. And now don't get me wrong. I was very impressed by Alabama State's butt whipping BTA over Alabama A&M. But undefeated in the SWAC through 4 games, first place in your division. That's why you're number one. Now, do you drop Jackson State to number 2 and move Alabama State to number 3? Because Jackson State does have the head-to-head over Alabama State. But in a week-to-week poll, Brian, record tied, despite the head-to-head, Alabama State won last week, Jackson State lost. Alabama State's 2, Jackson State is 3. Now, number 4, Delaware State. You beat the then number 2 team in the poll. I gotta bump you to number 4. It's just that simple. I can't put you higher than the previous number 1 because you were down at number 7. And I definitely can't move you ahead of Alabama State or Prairie View. So I'll put you there. I'll put you at 4. The previous number 2 team lost to another ranked team who was then number 7. I moved them to 5. Texas Southern. No one else outside of Delaware State moved up, but no one moved you out of your spot. So I leave you at 6, Texas Southern, which gives me South Carolina State by default in the number 7 spot. That is how I voted. That is what I submitted.
Okay. Here was my
them boys.
What?
ASU won, Jackson State lost. I said that earlier. I just said that. You talk about they had the exact same records with the head-to-head. Maybe next week, I may flip them. But in this week-to-week poll, the fact that you won yesterday and the other team lost yesterday, I have to go with the winner. I want winners, Brian.
Okay, look, I think here's what I think. When I hear people talk about this whole week-to-week thing, yes, it's week-to-week, but you know what? We're also talking about, I don't think you can look week-to-week and not take into consideration maybe 1 or 2 weeks prior as if it never existed. You can't look week-to-week and then not think about the whole season. Because the way I look at a poll at this week, Drew, and say, if the season ended today, this would be the team that would be the champion. Now, that may sound odd based on what I do with my ranking. Now that I just said that. But I do think there's a level of moving up and down when you win and when you lose. So let me start with the Alabama State and Jackson State factor. A 1 versus 2 matchup that goes down to the last play, and the losing team is 1 yard away. And they lose, they cover expectation, they lose on the road. It's almost like a push. It really is. There's no advantage in that game to me.
Point of personal privilege. I've kept Alabama State at number 2 in my poll this whole time. But anyway.
The furthest I dropped Alabama State after that was to 3. Following the loss, I moved them to 3, and I had moved North Carolina. I've been saying from the last 3-4 weeks that there are 3 elite teams. There's a new team that's entered the hunt, in my opinion. But I've been saying coming into this week, there was Jackson State, North Carolina Central, Alabama State. Put them in a bag, shake them up, and I'm good with whatever comes out in the Celebration Bowl. Right? Because I think those are the three best teams that have been playing up to the first 7-8 weeks of the season. Right? Okay. So in my rankings, I moved Alabama State to 1. Okay. I moved them up because the number 1 and 2 teams lost.
Makes sense.
And they lost and they lost in close, well, not all of them lost in close fashion, but they lost against relatively good opponents.
But I want to say this.
Well, hold on. Let me finish. And Alabama State's win in a neutral rival game was so freaking dominant. To me, it was like, oh, we got an opportunity, and obviously the games didn't occur in this order, but they just dominated in such a way that I could not ignore Alabama State as saying, you know what, you are as good as Jackson State, and if that game had been played 10 times, whether it be home versus home or neutral site, I bet it would have finished 5-5. 5 times Jackson State would have won, 5 times Alabama State would have won. You know? So, again, that's why I put Alabama State 1. I moved Jackson State. I'm looking at it now. I moved Jackson State down to 3. Because they lost the game by a field goal without their starting quarterback. After they took the lead, came back, took the lead with a backup, the third string guy. I mean, that was impressive to me. Now, number 2, that may shock some people. I had Delaware State at number 2. I moved Delaware State from, let's see, where they were. They were 6th on my poll the week before because I hadn't seen them play anybody of the standard of the top 4 or 5 teams. They beat the number 2 team in my rankings, and I thought that their performance was better than the 2 teams that I had ranked above them, which were Prairie View and South Carolina State. So, and I moved, because of that, I moved North Carolina Central down to 4 because I still believe North Carolina Central, again, now I have 4 teams in the bag, Drew. Alabama State, Jackson State, Delaware State, North Carolina Central. You shake them up, and I think whatever comes out are those are the 4 best teams now in Black college football. Prairie View, I did not move from 5. Now, you may say, why? Well, I can't judge Prairie View off anything they did against Lincoln, California. I'm not going to penalize them. I'm not going to give them any first place votes, definitely, because you beat a team that you should have beat.
Hey, Bryan, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Let's see. Texas Southern played VUL. Delaware State.
Texas Southern is ranked 7th.
And I'm just saying, Delaware State has played 2 Division II opponents. South Carolina State has played a Division II opponent. North Carolina Central has played a Division II opponent. Alabama State, have they played? Yes, they played a Division II opponent. Yeah, they didn't play Miles yet.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I bring that up, and just for everybody out there, and I know this is not you, Bryan, everybody has a push game on their schedule. So
sure. Yep. I'm glad
that's what I'm saying. That is a game. I don't know about you, Bryan, but when I see those games, it don't help you or it don't hurt you. Correct. I just throw that one out the window.
Correct.
But everybody on this top 7 has at least one of those games at some point in time this season. It just happened Prairie Views was Saturday. So let that one go, everybody.
So that was my 5. I'm seeing this, and Emmett's saying, how do I have Delaware State ahead of South Carolina State? Statistically, I've seen what Delaware State has done. I've seen it. South Carolina State they have not done consistently, even in a loss, they haven't done consistently what Delaware State has done. I mean, Delaware State, even when they lose, they still put up 30 points and ran for like 400 yards and probably had 500 yards of total offense. The problem was their defense couldn't stop the other team in those 3 losses. But go look at what Delaware State did in those games. Outside of I think even the first game of the year was against Delaware.
They played a decent game against Delaware, but they've had 2 other games they could have easily had victories in, Brian.
It doesn't matter.
They could very well be 7-1.
That means absolutely nothing this season. That was last year's glory. This team is not last year. I mean, come on now, you know that. South Carolina State is not the same team as they were last year. Different players. Different quarterback, different defenders,
different coach.
I mean, the only thing that's the same is the head coach.
Yeah. Let's get to the computers. Let's see what the computer says.
All right. These are the BCSN top 5 computer rankings for week number 3. Week number 3 here, presented by the BCSN SportsWrap. This is the under D1 rankings. These are schools that are primarily existing in the NCAA Division II and NAIA. All right, in the hunt, essentially, this would be outside of the top 5, so we're talking 6, 7, and 8. Edward Waters with 564.2 points. Fayetteville State, 544.2, and Virginia State, 521.5. Personal privilege, I'm surprised Fayetteville State still. Again, Fayetteville State's unbeaten in conference play. Their overall record, remember, they lost 2 or 3 non-conference games. And
3.
That is 3 non-conference games, but they're unbeaten in conference play. So, that's kind of why they're still sitting on the outside, I think. All right, here we go. Number 5, Johnson C. Smith, 571.7 points. Johnson C. Smith is 7-1 overall, 6-1. And here they go. Last 2 weeks of the season, similar spot as they were a year ago. Can Johnson C. Smith finish the deal? Number 4, Kentucky State. Ooh, interesting. 599.3 points. The Thoroughbreds have a great opportunity here to get to the SIC championship if they handle business in their final 2 weeks of the season. Number 3, Benedict, previously number 1, falls 2 spots after their loss to Albany State, but they have 728 points. That's a big gap between Benedict and Kentucky State. Both Benedict and Kentucky State have 1 loss in conference play, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the last 2 weeks to see who will get a shot in the SIC championship game. Number 2, I believe Virginia Union, they were number 1 like 2 weeks ago, correct?
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
We've had 3 number 1s in 3 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, Virginia Union stays put at number 2, 775.1. That means our new number 1 for the 3rd consecutive week, Albany State, 784.4. Interesting. The top 3 teams, 1, 2, and 3, have all had a taste of being number 1 in our rankings over 3 weeks. I wonder, just wondering here, with the matchup upcoming between Johnson C. Smith and Fayetteville, a win by Fayetteville could possibly move them into the top 5. But a win by Johnson C. Smith, could it elevate them closer to number 3?
We if we have time, we can run a simulation to see. But
yeah, no, we don't have time. But
not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay, I was gonna say not tonight. Jesus. Yeah. All right. So there's the BCSN under D1 rankings, top 5 for week number 3. Let's go over to the Division I side of things. Again, these are computer rankings. In the hunt, one school outside of the top 5 that's worthy of mentioning, and that's Prairie View A&M, 514.6. See, even the computer, I think like the computer. Anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be some people going to be shocked when they see what the computer spits out. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all might want to pay attention.
And again, this is Division I rankings. I know it says under D1, but this is actually Division I rankings, just so you guys are clear about that. That's okay. All right, here we go. Number 5. The computer says Delaware State, 514.7. Was Delaware State number 5 last week?
No, they were. I think they were outside.
Okay. So they get the win over Central. They move into the top 5, 514.7. I feel like Delaware State, though, maybe they were I think they were in the hunt, maybe. Anyway, go ahead. Number 4. Number 4 in the Division I rankings. As we move up.
I thought I hit the button. I'm sorry.
Sorry. That's all right. Number 4, North Carolina Central. Ooh, look at that margin between Central and Del State. Despite Central losing to Delaware State, they still have a very slim lead over Delaware State. You know, the computers still value the season that North Carolina Central has had to date as being just a little bit better than Delaware State. Okay, that's understandable. Still a lot of games left. 4 MEAC games left to play. We'll see how that changes. Number 3, BCSN Division I. Whoa, that's a shocker. Texas Southern, 555.5 points. This is the same Texas Southern team that lost to Prairie View on the final play of the game to open the season. Currently sitting in second place. Wow, I don't understand that. Maybe the computers will, trust me, there's still 5 weeks left, 5 to 6 weeks left in the season. But that is interesting. Number 2. Will there be a change? No. Whoa. Look at the numbers. 2 points ahead of Texas Southern is Alabama State, 557.5. That means number 1 is still Jackson State, 595.8. Wow. The computers love Jackson State. The computer loves Jackson State. I can't say it any other way. They love Jackson State more than the pollsters.
They love Jackson State more than Jackson State love Jackson State.
No, nobody loves Jackson State more than Jackson State. You can cancel that. Well, you know, Emmett, look, Emmett says, I don't agree. Look, you may not agree, but that's what the formula and the computer rankings say. It is what it is, you know. Wow. Texas Southern, look at that.
Hey, Brian, before we go, one thing, I just pulled this up. I just want you to see this. These are see if I can enlarge this a little bit. These are the top projected Division II rankings.
Wow. Kentucky State, number 2 over Albany State and Benedict?
Yes.
Wow.
That's projections right now.
And again, notice that the conferences, there's only 4 conferences that make up the region. There's 4 at-large bids. It's conceivable, Drew. You're shaking your head. Let me finish. I wanted to say it's conceivable that the SIC could get 3 teams into the playoffs, maybe
3,
4.
not 4.
You don't think it's possible that 4 could get in? 3 at-larges. You don't think 3 at-larges? Look at it right now.
Right. Here's your problem with team number 4, that being Edward Waters, which
Correct.
is
Edward Waters would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're number 8 right now. They're number 8 right now.
Here's the problem: Conference Carolinas, which you
Jesus.
see down there,
UNC
Pembroke,
bid. Yep.
they get an automatic, so they're gonna bump number 7.
Correct. And
no,
Newberry,
that's right. I'm sorry. They went to 8 this year. You get all 8. There is no bye this year. So
yeah, and
right
also
now,
looking at it,
they bump Edward Waters.
Well,
that's as of today.
Right. If the playoffs were today, Edward Waters would get bumped by UNC Pembroke as the top team out of the Coastal Carolinas.
Yes.
That's the best way of saying it.
Right.
So there's still time.
Yeah, there's still time for Edward Waters to make a move now.
Right. But what they have to do is hope that either Delta State or Newberry fall below them, meaning if they pick up a loss, probably is how that would have to happen.
Here's what's interesting about this. Delta State and Kentucky State were supposed to play this year.
Oh, were they?
In week 11.
What happened?
That game has been canceled.
Wow. Who canceled it?
Don't know who. I think Kentucky State may have canceled it because they were looking to, they've got a realistic chance of making the SIC championship game. So that game's not happening as of right now.
Huh. Okay.
So, just thought that was worth sharing, Brian.
No, it definitely was. Good stuff, Drew. Good stuff. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's show. We're getting a little bit closer to basketball season. I've seen some NAIAs started to play. Maybe next week I can coax Liv to come in and talk a little preseason basketball hoops with us. Yeah, so maybe we can. Maybe we can mix in at least one segment talking about basketball next week, because the Division I season will start a week from Monday. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember she said that there's 32 schools, HBCU Division I teams playing on that Monday. Something like 19 men, 13 women, or it's either the other way. But yeah, the season kicks off. And she's been paying attention to the exhibitions. Maybe there's an angle there. There might be some people there who want to get down on a little bit of action on that opening night of the basketball season. We are in the sports equinox, Drew. A great time. The World Series is tied up at a game apiece. You got the NBA in its opening week. You got football season, college footballs. Hockey has started. Man, this is the greatest month, greatest season of the year right here. So
love it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Well, again, want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching the show tonight. You got a lot of options. If you missed any part of the show, I'm going to encourage you to go download the BCSN Pod Zone. You can watch all of the shows that are part of the network. The Carlos Brown Show from Saturday is available on the Pod Zone. If you missed this morning's Dr. Gaville's Inside the HBCU Lab, that will be up a little bit later, along with our show. And then stay tuned for a week of great content Make sure you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you have the notifications turned on so that when new shows get set up, you are aware of when they will be on the show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you're still watching. And yeah, that'll do it for tonight's show. Any last words, Drew, before we close?
Nah, let's pick up this show and get out of here, man.
All right. For A.D. Drew, I'm Bryan Fulford. Have a great week, everybody. And we will see you, Lord willing, next Sunday night, 6 o'clock Eastern. Peace out.
Travel light, everybody. We'll holler.